Vigilante Wednesday here with a very simple question. Is there anything that can stop the inevitable dumpster fire that is Batwoman Season 2? Yes, actually, and I'm going to prove it, or at least give suggestions and try. If this is your first time joining me, please, if you like the video, share and subscribe if you are obliged. Comment below and let me know what you think of me. And if you do none of these things, thank you for joining me. My name again is Vigilante Wednesday, and I want to talk about Javicia Leslie and the new Batwoman Season 2. I did not see Batwoman Season 1. I honestly had no plans on seeing Batwoman Season 2, but after seeing her suit and seeing the potential investment, even though a lot of this is set up to fail, I actually think Javicia Leslie can take chicken shit and turn it into chicken salad if the stars should align. But first, I want to get into this character that she's playing, Ryan Wilder, finally being introduced into comics. I say finally, even though she's only 3 or 4 months old as far as existence. But I guess they want to get in before the "you're not a real comic character." That's something I said in my initial video on the whole tokenization. And I'm still not in favor of tokenization, but I want to make the most of it. I think Javicia Leslie is a very attractive young lady, as I'll get into when I show her pictures of her new suit. And the fact that they would go so far as to put this character in the comics and canon, even though I have a little bit of criticism of everything, shows they're willing to put some investment into it. It also shows what I'm afraid of and what I want Javicia Leslie herself to watch out on, because there's a reason we don't have Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, we don't have Martin, we don't have the Jeffersons, we don't have Sanford and Son, we don't have What's Happening, we don't have Living Single. Hell, Living Single came out before Friends, but they're talking about doing a black reboot of Friends. We can't even get our own reboots. There's this leftist view of black people where it has to be a social justice thing at every turn, and we cannot exist as characters within our own universe. Like, if there's a Bechdel test for black people in leftist media, I'm sure none of it passes, right? But I digress. I'll get into the panels that introduce Ryan Wilder, talk about some of the things. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to get into the things that scare me. Oh, look, it's Barbara Goody Two Shoes Librarian Gordon you were waiting on. Hey, Ryan, I have so much potential for greatness, Wilder. Keeping clean, I see. You're going to load me down with self-help books because my van is kind of full. I don't get that. It's like they're trolling the self-improvement thing. Like, blacks shouldn't try to self-improve. Even took the coding class. Got to make troll to learn the code thing. Even though there's people who really do that and really are able to get careers. But fuck that. Let's just troll. Let's troll anyone trying to improve themselves. Because it's because of white privilege. And so what does Barbara do? She joins Antifa and burns down black businesses for white privilege, just like Claire Kramer did. A rich redhead who burned down businesses for Antifa and for racial justice. That's what Barbara Gordon is going to do because Ryan Wilder learned to code and didn't work out. That makes any sense to anyone? No. And this is what I'm afraid of. Like I said, there's a reason you don't just have regular black characters anymore. Leftists don't know how black people are. They write the women to be extremely masculine and annoying. They write the men to be effeminate and useless. This is what leftists do with black characters. And quite frankly, Javicia, they do not care about you. They are trying to milk another season out of this show. They have no problem throwing you under the bus. They have no problem throwing you off the roof like you're Mick Foley, because they nearly paralyzed Ruby Rose, as I get into later. Everything is against you. There are a ton of people who are waiting to bag this thing and tell you how much this show sucks before it even starts, and they're already getting into woke leftist propaganda even when introducing the character, and it hasn't even been one episode filmed yet, or at least finished. So it seems like everything's going to fail, right? Here's the thing. Javicia Leslie is thicker than a Snicker, and I should know. I checked. And honestly, her suit is a vast improvement over the one Ruby Rose had, and a trillion times better than her screen test suit, which was just a Ruby Rose suit with the terrible red wig. I get the criticism, and it's valid, about her having an afro and being like a new character in a city, I guess, at Gotham, and this show doesn't have much black people, so having her show up is going to be obvious. That said, I just showed Barbara Gordon Her as Batgirl has never made sense. Same as all of the Robins, and Nightwing. Their mask really doesn't make sense in how they can really conceal their identity. And of course, Superman doesn't really make sense that I can conceal his identity. I'm not trying to make excuses because we know the Batwoman writers and the CW verse in general suffers from bad writing. And my big fear is they're just going to put her out there and feel like they've done their job. Javicia, the writers, the producers, everyone involved with the creative of the show has done their job by hiring you. So now they can hide behind it. They are just as well to have this show get 100,000 viewers an episode and blame it all on Istaphobic fans and make the right people mad and have your career tank as a result. But there are times when everything is failing, when everything looks to be bad, and if somebody can give a passable or good performance, they can make something out of it. Not only that, there's something promising even by this. Now, you'll see a lot of wokeness. I'll read the quote. But her costume shows promise. I love the fact that Ryan is becoming her own Batwoman. It's her style, her swag, and her moment. This is something I criticized the original, just putting her in Kate Kane's costume and looked terrible. It looked so bad. She looked unhappy. I felt it was important that viewers can tell by the silhouette that Batwoman was a black girl. Again, this doesn't really make sense as far as concealing one's identity, but here's the part that kind of gets me excited. With the form-fitting suit and beautiful afro, we definitely nailed it. This is why I'm hoping that she was part of the creative input in this, and because the form-fitting suit is a huge deal as far as me. Like, look at this woman. I'm sorry. Thicker than one of these. I'm happy with this suit. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of toxic masculinity. On top of that, the fact that she put in input, she needs to know something. I talked about how these execs really don't care about her. They have this leftist, crazed black view of black people. But you have the high ground, Anakin. This show only exists because of you. They came up with this stupid Ryan Wilder character. They made her a drug dealer, a poor drug dealer in a van. And of course they picked you. But with everything that's going on with Warner, they laying people off. I don't know if this show would still be in production if not for having cast Javicia Leslie as Batwoman. And so keep that in mind, because again, you're going to get scripts that make no sense and which your character talks crazy and has wooden lines. You're going to have to do more than just get a form-fitting suit. You're going to have to exert as much creative control as you possibly can and as much leverage as you possibly can. I talked about what happened with Kate Kane, or I shouldn't call her Kate Kane, Ruby Rose. She had a stunt that went wrong and almost was paralyzed. Listen to what happened. This is, of course, during the production of the first season of Batwoman. Ruby Rose revealed that she needed emergency surgery after a serious stunt injury left her facing the possibility of paralysis. The Batwoman actress shared details in a video posted late Thursday on Instagram. This was in September of 2019. To everyone asking about my Pez dispenser scar on my neck, a couple of months ago I was told I would need emergency surgery or I was risking becoming paralyzed. Rose captioned the post, I have herniated disc doing stunts and they were close to severing my spinal cord. I was in chronic pain and yet couldn't feel my arms. That's what the producers and the stunt coordinators did to Ruby Rose. They do not care about you, Miss Leslie. I'm sorry. So you have to make sure they don't get you into any crazy ass stunts. It's great that you put out this form-fitting suit. Anything you can to keep the stupid dialogue down and keep a coherent story. It wouldn't be a bad idea if you and your agent hired maybe one of those YouTubers that hate it. Hire Thorias Unlimited, somebody who actually understands the canon of this crazy show and can help you along. Hire someone else to do creative so you can keep whatever crazy script they give you and whatever crazy set of scripts they give you in canon, because that's the issue with these shows, the continuity. Lean into the Batman mythos and the Bat family. Don't overdo the black woman. I like the quote, she has it's black woman, Batwoman, because that's what it is. It's kind of ironic, but even though this is black woman, make it 90s black woman, proud family black woman. You know what I mean? I'm so sick of this leftist crazy view that thinks that all black people are looking for some white people to hate. Listen, I don't know what happened with your dad. I'm sorry you hate them, but please stop taking that all out on us. Please, I'm begging you, leftist producers and writers, just stop it. Stop. I think this can be salvaged, not just because she's, again, thicker than a Snicker, but they're also putting something in to her Batmobile. It looks kind of cool. They put a little extra kit. If you look at the original car, it looks a little bit better, but it's a very cool looking car. It shows effort, and if I'm correct, this is the introduction of the Batmobile into the CW and Arrowverse. A universe that hasn't been worthwhile in about 4 or 5 years. They did have a quote-unquote surprise hit with Stargirl. I know a lot of people like it, and maybe this can add to it. Listen, you're starting over with a completely fresh slate. I think you should do something that the first season didn't, and that's lean into the Bat universe. And unfortunately, Javicia Leslie, you're going to have to be the head writer, director, and producer, because everyone else, by hiring you, feel like they've done their job. They're more than willing to hide behind you and let the show fail. But if you're willing to push them, willing to make sure that they give you good scripts, and don't worry about being difficult on set, because if you look what happened with Ruby Rose, even though they almost paralyzed her, there were rumors that persisted that it wasn't 100% her decision to leave the show. So that means there were people who were ready to get rid of her, even though they nearly paralyzed her. Also, don't forget, this is Warner Media. They have a lot of issues with Rooster Teeth. They had a lot of issues with the Ray Fisher situation, which could be a little fishy either way. They also had issues with Gal Gadot and Ezra Miller in the initial Justice League shoot. So Warner Media has this weird stuff going on. They don't need any more bad press, so you have the high ground. Push them to create the best show they can, and this is even salvageable. Even if they give you not the best scripts, if there's a decent story and you can pull off with the best ability of your acting, and hey, you push for a form-fitting suit, don't stop there if you can't help it. Push for whatever you can to push this show a little bit further. I actually think you can make something of it. I'm going to cover it for the channel. I don't know if I would have before I saw her suit. I'm a fan of it. I hope they don't leave her like Ruby Rose. I hope that her agent, whoever is involved, can keep these directors and these writers and producers in line, because they have leftist propaganda. Like I said, there's a reason we don't have a new Martin. There's a reason we don't have these shows, because these producers don't want them. They want us to be some crazy radicals. They want us to be Antifa and BLM members. That's all they see us as. And I know there's going to be a BLM episode. I already know, but what this show needs is to lean into the Bat universe. It would be nice if Kevin Conroy's already established as Bruce Wayne. Maybe he can be a Batman Beyond-esque mentor to Ryan Wilder and not look like a weak white male like they do all the time, but the Batman that we all love. They already kind of cucked him in the Crisis for Infinite Earth, but then again, I think that was an alternate universe Bruce Wayne. Either way, you can have Bruce Wayne as a part of this. You can have Mr. Freeze, any part of the Rose Gallery you want. Try to introduce into this series and show off Javicia Leslie's figure. She is a very beautiful woman. Very beautiful. You compare her to Ruby Rose. No disrespect to Ruby Rose. I don't really think it's a comparison as far as that. And I know I'm being toxically male, but I don't see that as a bad thing. Sex does sell. If you can lean into that without being gratuitous, it wouldn't hurt. So I think this has, even though, trust me, it has way more things going against it than going for it. I think those low expectations could work to its advantage. If Javicia Leslie could put in a good performance for what she has the potential to save what will probably be a black mark on her career if she's not able to at least get this to another season. It sucks that everything is going to be put on her, but this is just how these leftists work when it comes to creative acts. They just say here's a lesbian woman of color and we're done. We don't need to do anything creative. And if you don't like it, it's because you're istophobe. It's not because we didn't write a good story. It's not because we don't know about character development. It's because you're istophobe because you don't like these characters. And you have to avoid it. You have to make your character the best it can be. So impact creative as much as you can. If you had anything to do with this suit, you're already on the right track. So that's enough rambling and fawning over Javicia Leslie. If you like the video, please like the video. Let me know in the comments below what you think of me. If you're so obliged to share and subscribe, please do. And even if you do none of these things, thank you for watching and thank you for your time.